Greetings duplicant and welcome to the breach. So far in our new colony we've managed to build a barracks and some toilets, though they are only outhouses at the moment. We are busy digging out areas in the starting biome to hopefully help us explore the surrounding area and see if there are any more vents and geysers that we can tap into. There's going to be a number of things we need to do this episode. One is plant some food. The nutrient bars of the charred heart won't last all that long. We also need to upgrade our toilets so we're not using extra duplicant labour to clean them out every so often. And I will realise that I don't actually have a mess hall set up at the moment. At the moment we have plenty of oxygen generation from the polluted mud, but eventually we're going to need to replace this polluted oxygen with a clean source of oxygen which we'll be supplying from our main base. There are about 20 duplicants on our main base, but our oxygen producer can supply up to a maximum of 30 duplicants, so we've got excess that we're not using. We're going to pipe it here via the resource transporter. To activate the resource transporter we need to send a duplicant with a science background so they can activate. This will not only allow us to receive oxygen but also be able to receive other resources like steel and glass that we might need later on. Glass would be obviously useful if I'm setting up solar power arrays, because I don't know if I've got a source of natural gas or hydrogen on this asteroid at the moment. You can check out the star map and it will show you which resources are available on each asteroid. As my duplicants dig out the starting biome, I'm also collecting all the polluted water at the bottom of the map. I will use this polluted water to irrigate my bog plants that should be supplying the food for my duplicants as they progress and set up this colony. I've talked about receiving resources from my home planet, but there's also resources I'll be wanting to send back. I've noticed that there's aluminium ore on this planet which has high thermal conductivity and would be great for doing any type of heat exchange system. For example, if I was making liquid oxygen and hydrogen for rockets, or if I was going to build a petroleum boiler. The main resource this asteroid offers is the uranium, which is obviously super important if you want to run a nuclear reactor. But to be honest, I've seen how duplicants behave, and I think handing fissile material to duplicants would be a Geneva Convention violation. First thing I'm going to get the duplicants to set up is the hydroponics tiles so we can get our bog plants growing, because they'll take a while to come online. Below that we'll set up our hamster wheel to supply power to the pump at the bottom of the map to pump up the polluted water to feed the bog plants. Setting up the hamster wheel and battery and with a source of water now means that I can upgrade my outhouses to proper toilets and sinks. So nearly 600 cycles later it's still a big upgrade. We don't have a lot of polluted water in reserve at the moment, so we're going to have to prioritise getting all the polluted water on the map into this one location so it's easily accessible for our food needs. As there are pipsqueaks on the map, there's always the option of trying to go the natural route by getting the pipsqueaks to plant the bog plants and have them rotate on a natural cycle, which will reduce the need for water. That is, unless they've changed the way pipsqueaks works, and I haven't noticed. I don't think they've changed the way they work, but I'll have to check. As you can see, I've got a deodorizer down, but it won't work because I don't have any sand, and I'll also need sand when I build the water sieve as well, so later on I will have to go hunting for some sand. It is one of the interesting things about having multiple asteroids, is something that you have hundreds and hundreds of tons on one asteroid will be a rare resource on another. And here we are just finishing our food production setup, and now we have some power to spare as well. Now we're going to kill two birds with one stone. We're going to add more polluted water to the pit, and then we're going to expand our toilet area to include proper lavatories and sinks. We'll need room for the water sieve and an overflow area for the polluted water from the toilets as well, which will probably just feed back into our bog plants. As you can see, I have a power slug roaming around my base, and it's managed to chew on some metal because it's released some hydrogen gas. The power slugs were a great idea, and it was a great way of supplying power to the start of your base run, but I found now that you have to feed them metal to get any power out of them. It's just not worth the bother, so I'm not going to utilise the power slugs. They'll probably be corralled in one area or maybe turned into meat and barbecue later on. We'll make the living conditions a little nicer for our duplicants by adding some ceiling decoration, and we're going to end up having to remove all the debris from the toilets as well at some point. I've set up a background tasks for them to do is remove the debris from the toilet and an area where I plan on building something else, but it's on a low priority, so they'll get that done in the background. So the next thing we're going to work on is upgrading our outhouses to toilets. The easiest option would just be make a brand new area for the toilets, but I want to keep the toilets in this position for a while, so I'm just going to upgrade around my existing outhouses. Nothing I'm building at the moment I'm designated as permanent. I'd rather get more of the map explored and get a feeling of what I'm going to be exporting from this asteroid back to our main base before I decide on how to build a permanent settlement, depending on how many duplicants I'm going to leave here to oversee the process. The upgrade process is going to be removing one of the outhouses and replacing that outhouse with a lavatory and sink. Once I've got those working, I can remove the outhouse and basin and make a proper working toilet area. And by working, I mean having the water sieve actually have sand so it can actually do its job, which I haven't realised yet is a problem. Then we just take some polluted water from the bog plants and prime the system ready to go once we've found some sand. Now if you imagine me sat at the screen staring at the water sieve going, why aren't you working? And then spotting the little icon underneath it and realising I don't have any sand. And then you see me exploring the map looking for sand deposits, with a slight hint of trepidation that there might not be any sand on this asteroid whatsoever, and I've just wasted my time building a proper lavatory and sink. And with a sigh of relief, I find some sand. Not a great deal, but enough to get the water sieve working and a bit of deodorizing done. So we just simply need to build a ladder up, access the sand, and yes, we now have a proper toilet facility for our duplicants. And here we have a duplicant rushing to use the facilities, and on his way past the water sieve he just shoves in a little bit of sand and bingo, we now have a water filter system. We can unhook the sieve from the polluted water as we have enough in the system now. And we have the removal of the outhouse and the wash-hand basin. The lavatories are going to give me one more big problem, and that is they're going to fill up a little bit quicker than I thought they would, and I haven't sorted out the overflow into the bog plants properly. Because of where I placed my ladders, what I thought I had set up as a great hall isn't actually working as a great hall because there's a ladder section. So I'm now going to set up the great hall properly and actually get the morale bonus that I need to get my duplicates a little bit more skilled and speed up the digging and construction process. Looking at the decor, obviously where the transporters are is great because of all the background tiles that are there. We need to get all this polluted water to the bottom of the map so it's usable by our plants. Obviously this is a finite resource, but as you can see top right hand corner there is a geyser, so hopefully it's a polluted water geyser. We are in luck, and it obviously looks like that we'll be able to export water back to the main base if we need to. There is something mesmerising about watching water and mixed water cascade in this game, though I now have to separate the clean from the polluted water. Here you can see that I realise that the pressure of the oxygen is dropping to quite a low level, therefore I need to send a duplicate with a science skills to activate the matter transporters. Here we have Ari. They haven't been skill scrubbed since completing their running on the treadmill to increase their athletics for their suit wearing ability. Ari's now arrived and will automatically go and activate the matter transporter to this base, so I'm going to make sure that I have a few jobs lying around for them to do before I need to send them back. That's the matter transporter to the base activated, and the oxygen will start to flow and displace the polluted oxygen, removing the yucky lungs for my duplicates hopefully, and speeding their progress up. So there's an elephant in the room that I haven't mentioned yet. This episode has been released on the 15th of December. On the 16th of December, Klei are finalising their DLC update. The DLC will no longer be in early access, it will be live, so to speak. So I've decided that with the updates being official, I will terminate this playthrough. I will start another one. I want to start again and have the benefit of all the little additions they made to the game right from the start. So not only will we get improvements from Klei, but I'm hoping that I have learnt enough that when I start the new series I'll be able to put out longer episodes and maybe more often, but that depends because depends on what skills I've learnt over the last few weeks. My Oni videos are definitely the most popular videos on my channel, and I love playing Oni. The problem I have is editing. I am not very good at editing. It's not my forte. It's not in my wheelhouse of skills. It's completely alien to me, and which, though you wouldn't believe it, it takes a long time for me to edit one of these videos. 2 or 3 days, which seems a very long time for a 10-minute video. But who doesn't like a good challenge, eh? Going back to Klei Entertainment and their releasing of the DLC, if you read their forum posts on the subject, if you read it carefully, you'll see that they aren't drawing a line after this DLC. This isn't the end. This is just going to be a continuation, hopefully, like they do with Don't Starve Together, etc. So maybe in future they might be announcing another DLC, which obviously I'll be very excited about. But at the moment, I'm just excited about starting a new base. I do like a new base feeling where you're struggling to get resources and that initial struggling to get the research done and everything else you need to do. That's why I'm enjoying this new colony, because it's almost like starting again. Though I am a little disappointed that I didn't get to do any big builds. Like, I really wanted to do a petroleum boiler because they're fun and they're a little bit complicated because they're not exactly just build it this way. You have to tweak it to do with how hot the incoming liquids are coming in. So maybe on my next playthrough I will prioritise building a petroleum boiler just to please myself, basically. I don't have any plans to make the next playthrough extra difficult, like a 100 dupe challenge or anything like that. I just want to play the standard game and see how it's playing, and see if I can get to a little bit further towards the end game, you know, spaceships, that kind of thing, exploring other asteroids and not just the transporter. But that's all for future episodes. I really appreciate all those that watch, and if you stay to the end, thank you very much. And as always, I'll see you on the other side.